There is nowhere to go for a while. Nothing to solve. Nothing to become before sleep arrives. Let the body be as it is. Let the mind be as it is. You do not need to prepare yourself perfectly for rest. Rest is not something you earn by doing everything right. It is something you return to when you stop arguing with the moment. And for now, there is only this: a fire, a quiet room, a chair that holds you without question, a soft darkness beyond the edge of light, and the simple permission to be here. Imagine that you're sitting near a low, steady fire at the end of a long day. Not a dramatic fire, not a wild one, just a thoughtful fire. The kind that does not demand attention, but keeps you company. The room is still, the air is warm, near the flames, and cooler at the edges. Wood settles softly, a faint ember shifts. A low glow breathes in orange and gold, then lowers, then glows again. You do not need to do anything with this image. You do not need to picture it perfectly. Only let the feeling of it find you. A place where nothing urgent can reach you now. A place outside performance, outside explanation, outside the small machinery of the day. The fire burns without anxiety. It does not rush to become ash. It does not cling to being wood. It simply takes part in its nature. And perhaps tonight you may do the same. Not as an achievement, not as a spiritual accomplishment, just as a creature among other creatures. A living being allowed for a little while to stop. The flame lean and rise. They speak a language older than language. Movement without worry. Change without panic. And as you watch them or sense them, you may notice how little is needed in this moment. Warmth, breath, a place to rest. Nothing more is required from you here. The mind may still be moving. That is all right. Thoughts often arrive when the world grows quiet, as if they have been waiting at the door all day to be let in. Plans, memories, fragments of unfinished conversations, small embarrassments, old longings, future rehearsals. Let them come if they come. You do not have to extinguish thought. You do not have to become blank or pure or transcendent. A wise mind is not a silent mind. It is a mind that no longer believes it must follow every sound it makes. So if a thought appears, let it sit somewhere in the room with you. It need not sit in your lap. It need not stand in front of the fire. It can remain at the edge of things, dim and harmless, while you stay with the warmth. The fire is useful in this way. It reminds you that attention can rest softly, not gripped, not forced, simply rested. You watch the glow, the small flicker, a folding inward of orange, a brief bright edge, then a gentling. The whole scene repeating itself without strain. This is enough to be with, and as you remain here, breathing as you're breathing, the body may begin to remember something it has not forgotten, only misplaced. How to unclench, not all at once, not dramatically, just a little. The jaw may soften, the tongue may loosen from the roof of the mouth. The muscles behind the eyes may stop their work. The throat may unfasten. The shoulders may understand that they are no longer needed to carry the day into the night. You are not abandoning your life by setting it down for a few hours. You are honoring it. Even the mind that worries is usually trying, in its own clumsy way, to protect something precious. So tonight there is no war with the self, no scolding, no harness toward the part of you that stayed alert for too long. You can thank that vigilance for bringing you here, and then let it rest by the fire like an old watchman relieved of duty. Imagine that somewhere just beyond this room is a dark and quiet landscape. Perhaps forest, perhaps open land, perhaps a distant hillside under night sky. You don't need to walk into it, only know that it is there. The world continues without your supervision. The trees do not ask you to hold them upright. The stars do not need your management. The earth beneath all things keeps its turning. There is a kind of mercy in remembering this. So much of human tiredness comes not only from what we carry, but from the invisible belief that if we loosen our grip, something essential will be lost. But life has always been larger than your grip. And for this one night, you may return your borrowed burdens to the larger order of things. The ancient Stoics spoke often of what is within our care and what is not. They were not cold men, as some people sometimes imagine. They were men trying to suffer less by ceasing to demand mastery over what was never theirs to command. The weather of other minds, the shape of time, the certainty of tomorrow, the undoing of the past, the speed with which healing comes, the fact of change, the eventual end of all things. These were never ours. What is yours, here and now, is simpler. The willingness to soften, the willingness to stay with one breath, then another. The willingness to let the fire warm what it can warm, and not to ask it to illuminate the whole of existence. That is enough, more than enough. Listen inwardly now to the rhythm of the room, a faint settling of wood, the hush behind sound, the low pulse of warmth, the almost silence between one breath and the next. There is a peace that does not come from controlling life. It comes from ceasing for a moment to negotiate with reality. This is night. You are tired. There is a fire. You are allowed to rest. Nothing in that needs improvement. If the mind wants to keep discussing things, let it speak from farther away now, as though its voice comes from another room, not suppressed, only no longer central. And you remain here, nearer the warmth than worry. Picture the flames again. Notice how they consume without greed. They take only what is given. They do not reach beyond their place. They do not ask the room to become the forest, or the forest to become the sky. Each thing remains itself, and peace often begins there, when each thing is allowed to remain what it is. You do not need to become a different person to sleep. You do not need to become wiser, calmer, better, healed enough, spiritual enough, disciplined enough. You may sleep as a human being, incomplete, tender, a little worn by thought, still worthy of rest. There is something very dignified in ordinary tiredness. It means you have lived inside the day. You have spent yourself on being alive. And now the body asks for its old medicine: stillness, darkness, warmth, time. You can trust these old ancient remedies. The fire burns lower now, not weaker, only deeper. The bright dancing edges have become a steadier glow. The room darkens slightly around you, but not in a way that feels empty, in a way that feels merciful. Details begin to matter less. The exact shape of the chair, the edges of the walls, the distance between one object and another. Everything simplifies. And perhaps this is what sleep is. before it arrives fully. Not disappearance, not absence, but simplification. The world asks less of you. The senses dim their reporting. The mind loses interest in its own commentary. The self becomes less of a project and more of a presence. Do not chase this. Sleep is shy around effort. It comes more easily when welcomed than when pursued. So, remain here with the fire, here with the body, here with this sweet diminishing need to understand. For a little while, let existence be simple. Warmth meets skin, breath meets air. Darkness gathers kindly, time loosen its belt. And if you like, you may imagine that with each exhale you offer something small to the fire, just to stop carrying it yourself. A little tension, a sentence that never found its ending, a self-judgment, a fear that does not need your devotion tonight, the stale ache of a difficult hour, the pressure to know what comes next. One by one, lightly. The fire receives everything without opinion. It does not analyze. It does not moralize. It does not keep a ledger of your sorrows. It does not ask whether you deserved relief. It simply transforms. And perhaps you too are allowed this quiet mystery. Not solving, not fixing, only being changed gently by warmth and rest. There are many things in life that improve through effort. Sleep is not always one of them. Sleep often comes when the system no longer feels watched, no longer examined, no longer measured against the clock. So there is no need to wonder how close or far away it may be. That question belongs to the waking mind, and the waking mind is becoming less important now. The fire glows, the room softens, your awareness broadens and blurs a little at the edges. The body may feel heavier now, more willing to belong to gravity. The hands resting, the shoulders dropping, the chest unguarding, the legs unwinding, the forehead smoothing into something older than thought. All All creatures know how to rest when they feel safe enough. And safety is not always perfection. Sometimes it's simply the absence of demand, the end of negotiation, a room warm enough to stop racing in, a moment in which no one is asking for your explanation. This moment can be that, even if only partly, even if only tonight, even if only for now. And now, as the fire settles further into embers, what remains is steadier than flame, lower, redder, more inward, a red gold hush, a living center. No decisions now, no conclusions now, no identity to maintain now. You may set down the costume of the daytime self, the competent one, the worried one, the one who must remember, the one who must answer, the one who must become. Here by the fire, none of them are required. There is only a living body and warmth, only breath leaving and returning, only the old intelligence of best beginning its patient work. Far beyond this room, countless things continue. Cities murmur, roads hum, screens flicker in the distant windows. Ships move across black water. Night workers keep their fateful hours. Animals turn in sleep. Clouds pass over silent fields. And yet here, in this small circle of warmth and shadow, all that vastness narrows to a simple single truth. You are allowed to stop. Not forever, just now. And it is astonishing sometimes how healing a temporary stopping can be. The mind that believes it must carry everything cannot carry everything through the night. At some point, the deeper self takes over. The body descends. The senses dim. The quiet intelligence beneath thought begins its invisible repair. You do not need to understand the mystery in order to receive it. The seed does not understand the dark soil, and still it yields. The body does not need a philosophy of sleep in order to sleep. It only needs enough permission. So let permission move through you now. Permission to be unfinished. Permission to leave inner questions unanswered until morning. Permission to let tomorrow remain tomorrow. Permission to trust the older rhythm beneath all striving. The embers pulse very softly, a little red, a little gold, a small breathing hush in the dark, and your mind may begin to drift in the same way. Not all at once, just loosening its edges, one edge, then another. Thoughts blur, distance softens, words themselves become less necessary. That's all right. You are not losing anything essential. You are only leaving the bright architecture of thinking and entering the older country of rest. If some part of you is still listening carefully, let it listen without effort. Let it hear this. Nothing is wrong with this moment. Nothing is required of this moment. You do not need to improve the night. You are here. You are warm. You are breathing. The fire remains. And even if sleep has not fully come yet, rest is already here. That too matters. That too restores. Tonight, even wakefulness may sit peacefully by the fire. It need not to be driven away. It may grow drowsy beside you. It may loosen its color. It may set down its tools. It may forget, for a little while, its own name. The room grows quieter still. The glow lowers. The dark comes closer, gently, like a blanket being drawn slowly upward. You may follow the next breath down, and the next, as though each exhale takes one small step farther into a soft interior place. Nothing dramatic there. No visions. Only less effort. Less distance between you and your own way. Less argument with the fact of being alive. At the end of every day, the body asks a very simple question. Can we stop now? And if the answer is yes, even a little, peace begins to gather. So yes, you can stop now. And yes, the world is unfinished. Yes, your life is unfinished. Yes, some things remain uncertain. And still, you can sleep. The Stoics understood this Peace was never the reward for perfect conditions. It was the fruit of right relationship, a willingness to let the uncontrollable remain uncontrollable, a willingness to tend only what is truly yours. And tonight, what is yours is very small and very enough. This chair, this breath, warmth, the soft descent, nothing else, just now. The embers hold their quiet red center. The room is nearly all shadow, and shadow is kind to tired eyes. Everything unnecessary recedes. You may imagine the fire keeping watch a little longer. Not because you're in danger, but because it's comforting to feel that something warm remains awake as you drift off. Let the fire keep the edge of the night. Let the room hold your body. Let the darkness do what darkness has always done. Cover, soften, quiet, restore, and you, meanwhile, may do less and less. More sinking down, more softening, quiet. Soon there may not be no need to follow these words at all. You can let them dim. Let them pass through you like smoke rising through beams of dark. But before they fade completely, hear this last one thing. You do not need to conquer the night. You only need to enter it. And the way in is gentle, by warmth, breath, permission, by the ancient humility of letting the day be over. So rest now. Let the embers glow where they glow. Let the dark gather where it gathers. Let the mind become wide and unimportant. Let the body remember its deeper wisdom. There is a fire. There is a night. There is nothing more to do. And now, little by little, without effort or force, without needing to know the exact moment it happens, you may drift. You may drift